We're going to study the net present value for an asset purchase today. There are 4 potential parts to a capital budgeting decision. The salvage value of what you're getting rid of, the after-tax savings expected from the new purchase, the tax savings from the depreciation on the new item, and the salvage value of getting rid of the new asset at the end of the life, if there is any. It's not unusual to not need step 1 or step 4. You're not replacing something maybe, or the new assets you're buying you don't expect to have a salvage. But step 2 and step 3 are the key and the main part of the study of this tutorial. So get your book out and let's do problem 1210 together. This is on page 363 of your text. When you read it, you'll see you don't need step 1 and step 4. We're not replacing an asset, and there's no salvage expected at the end of the life. But we do need to adjust the cash flows for the amount that Uncle Sam is going to keep, which is 30%. So freeze this frame and calculate the after-tax savings of each of those 5 years. There you go. Notice that these are still future value dollars. We have not discounted them back to the present. We have taken the tax piece out, but that's it. Now let's calculate the tax savings from the depreciation. Depreciation is going to shelter some income, and by providing a deduction, it's going to reduce the payments we have to make to the IRS. So there we are. This is the amount of tax savings from depreciation, still in future dollars. All right, we have to now calculate the present value. We can do it by hand using the tables, or we can do it in Excel. Here it is by hand. Here's the after-tax cash flows discounted to present for each of the years. It's not an annuity because it's not the same amount every year. So we can't do them as one calculation. We have to do them as 5. Now what about the depreciation? That is the same every year. So we can use the annuity table and just have one calculation to figure out the present value of the tax savings of each of the years. Add those two together, the tax savings and the after-tax cash flow, the present value of both of those, and you get the present value of the project. So there's the present value of each of the 5 years plus the present value of the tax savings from depreciation, and you get the present value of the investment. This can be tedious, and not everybody wants to spend their life looking things up in a table, so let's put it up in Excel. Toggle over and open up Excel. Set up your spreadsheet like this. Freeze this frame while you do it, and we're going to calculate using NPV in Excel. Here is the instruction about how to use NPV. That was taught to you in a previous tutorial. And here is your solution. Now just add those two numbers together. That's the present value of the tax savings and the present value of the cash flow after tax. So you get a little bit over $1 million. The cost of the project was $860, so it looks like a great deal. Net present value is higher. Do it. All right, that was investment A. Now freeze this frame and do the same thing for investment B and see what you come up with. All right, so the first thing you had to do is calculate the after-tax cash flows. Now we want to discount those back to the present. Here we did it using the tables. Notice you didn't have to recalculate the tax savings of depreciation because they were the same for both investments, investment A and investment B. Now let's look at the decision. The after-tax, the present value of the cash flows was $864,000 and cost $860. So it looks like it's very close to the purchase price. As you get close to the purchase price, qualitative factors tend to play in because you're right about on the edge there. In the field, you're not going to use a hand calculator or a financial calculator. You're going to use Excel. So let's set it up. Freeze this frame, toggle over to Excel, set it up, and use the NPV function to calculate the present value of these after-tax amounts. There you go. Now we have a bonus question for you. Why is $864,000 the present value and not the net present value of the project? Because you haven't subtracted out the investment cost. So net present value is net of the original investment. So the net present value is $4,024 here. All right, let's do one more. I want you to set it up in Excel and also do it by hand so you get practice either way. Here is the after-tax savings. Here's the tax savings from depreciation and the net present value calculated in Excel. Should verify it both ways. Here's the present value of the future cash flows. Should they invest? What do you need? You need to go back and look up the cost. That's right. Subtract out the cost, you have a positive net present value and a pretty large positive net present value. So yes, this is a good project to invest in.